Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Schaefer. I'm the orchestra teacher here. And this is actually one of my favorite events of the whole school year. It's the beginning winter concert. Okay, students up here, raise your hand if the first time you played your string instrument was in August. Raise your hand. It's like almost everyone, all right? So, the cool thing about this is, and one of our favorite things about teaching middle school is that I get to introduce students to their instrument. And they get to pick it. One of my favorite things to do is when they pick their instrument, you can they write down why they like the sound and stuff, and that's really nice to listen to. And then, once they pick their instrument, the question I get every single day is, when can I take the instrument home? When can I take the instrument home? And I was like, okay, you need to learn how to take care of it so you don't break it. And we have that lesson. They haven't learned anything else. They don't know any songs, they don't know any of the notes, and still like, so I can take my instrument home today? And I was like, oh, that's nice. They just want to have their instrument with them, which is very, very cool. So, you'll notice I have my instrument out here. This concert will be, I'll kind of be telling you what we learned throughout the semester. So when you watch your child practice for the rest of their time playing this instrument, you'll know what to look for and you can help them out a little bit. Okay, so the first thing we'll be playing is a scale, where we move from one note and go note by note to the other part of the scale. Some things to watch out for. Sorry, I can't hold the mic and do something like that. Violins, violas, you want to make sure as they sit, their violin and viola is parallel to the floor, so they're not slouching like this, or going up like that. Next thing, for the blow hole, you want to make sure all the fingers are curved. You don't want anything like that. Those are things. So those are things to watch for as they play. For cellos, they just want to make sure they're sitting up, and their fingers are also curved. Like this. All right, the students, let's play D major scale all together. So before time. Very nice, students. Hey, you can give them a clap. Yeah. Also, you'll notice they sound quite nice, yeah? That is not something you would expect. The beginning orchestra always has the stereotypes, because they sound like dying cats, but they definitely do not sound like dying cats. And yeah, these instruments aren't as hard as we're told to believe. So you'll notice there's a few different types of instruments up here. So violins, raise your hand. They're over here. Okay, all right. The violas, they're over here. Raise your hand. Okay, cellos, raise your hand. And bass, raise your hand. All right, so those are the 4 instruments that make up the orchestra. They're all basically the same instrument, they're just different sizes, and they play in different registers. So we'll just do this in canon. So cellos and bass will go first, violas will go second, violins will go third. D major scale, each note 4 times, all right? Cellos and bass go first. So we go 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, violas, ready, go. Violins, go. Very nice, students. That was nice. All right. Okay. So you'll notice in the program there's a lot of songs by someone named Suzuki. So Shinichi Suzuki was a violin teacher who was born in the early 1900s, and he revolutionized the way that we approach music, especially string instruments, because for a long time string instruments didn't have that stereotype of, oh, this is only for people with talent and it's going to sound really bad. But he was like, no, you just have to break things down, and you just teach them from a young age, build a kind of an environment, a community that supports music, and people can really, music is for anyone, string instruments are for anyone. So that's why a lot of the songs are done is by him. So another approach to Suzuki was, reading music's a really complicated thing. So what we like to do in the Suzuki method is we teach them how to kind of play things first without putting the dots on the page and like learning how to read all the really complicated symbols. We're like, here, focus on holding the instrument, doing these things. And so for the first like few weeks, we were just learning things, and I'll just tell them a letter name, and they would have to play it. And I, focus on the bow hold and stuff. No dots, no measures, no beats or anything like that. And like the rhythms we went by, I just used different mnemonics. So there's Mississippi hot dog, strawberry raspberry, peanut butter jelly sandwich. These rhythms will come in later when they learn how to read music, but right now they just hear, oh, I just say that in my head, and I'll just play the song. So, Twinkle Little Star is one of the first songs they learn, and there's the different rhythm variations. So here is Twinkle variation. Very nice, students. That was quite nice. Okay, so as they're learning the songs and they're learning the notes, we start introducing just like different rhythm things. So, like not using my mnemonic. So one of the first rhythms they learn is the quarter note. So in a lot of music, quarter note is if the conductor's beating or just snapping the finger, it just goes one per beat. Basically goes da, 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 like that. And then also half notes. Half notes are twice as long. So you hold them for each one goes da, da, like that. All right. So each one, half note's 2 beats, quarter note is 1 beat. Those are the same things that we learned. So in this next song, Light Hero includes both half notes and quarter notes. Okay, so those are like the two ones, half note, quarter note. And then, once they got better at their coordination, we started learning about eighth notes. So eighth notes go twice as fast as quarter notes. So quarter notes go dun, 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 dun. Eighth notes go dun, 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 dun. You'll notice in the twinkle variations they had eighth notes, but like they were in groups, so they weren't being able to play like each note as an eighth note. As opposed, like this, it was like, oh sorry. So doing eighth notes, but it's the same note. But in this next song, Go Tell Aunt Rhody, the notes will change via eighth notes. So that takes a lot more coordination. So here is Go Tell Aunt Rhody. Students. Okay, and then, so the last rhythm we learned was, all right, so another thing, all these songs are what we call in 4/4 meters, so there's 4 beats in a measure, like it flows that way. And after that, after you learn like, one beat, the quarter note, the half note, and the eighth notes, we now learn the dotted half note, which has three beats, so it goes da, da. So like if you listen to any waltzes are often in 3, so that's how the feel goes with waltz. So this next song, French folk song, is their first song they learned that's in 3/4. Students. Okay, so after they got kind of familiarized with the notes and they got familiarized with the rhythms, then we started for real learning how to read like the dots on the page, reading music. And so we used a book called Essential Elements, which is this really great method book that helps like sequentially adding in all these things. But the cool thing is so Essential Elements is written so that they were trying to do both at the same time, but the way that we do it here is that the beginning part was pretty easy because it's like, oh, I know how to play, I can move my arms and do that stuff. So reading the notes was the main purpose of it. So we were moving pretty fast through the book. And so this next song is a medley of 5 different Essential Elements songs. We have Song for Christine, Natalie's Rose, Matthew's March, Christopher's Tune, and Buckeye Salute. Oh, one thing about now that we're learning how to do things, reading the music, they now have to focus on reading what bow to do. And all right, so I'll now explain to you guys. So when we do the bow, there's actually symbols to help us know which direction the bow moves. And when this bottom part, the frog goes down, we call this a down bow. When it goes up like this, it is an up bow. So in the music, they actually write up and down bow. The songs they play so far, they kind of just learned it by you telling them you have to do it this way, right? But now they can like read the music and they can do that. And one thing that they haven't done yet is what is called the retake to make sure we all do the same bow. So let me just show you what a retake looks like. Down bow, up bow, but like, when we're playing the instrument, it's in a different angle, right? So for violins, down bow, up bow. For cello, down bow, up bow. That would be another thing. So a retake is when you do like that. You do another down bow in a row. Like that. So. Okay, Okay, so that's the tricky thing. So now these students are like playing these very complicated instruments, reading the notes, and also they have to make sure they're doing the correct bow and they can do the retakes when they're supposed to. And so the thing that we've been doing is like, in addition to reading the music, they're also glancing around to make sure they're moving the bow at the same time as everyone else. And you know, sometimes, especially in the early parts of learning, people will make a mistake. And I like to use this metaphor of us on a trolley. And if like you make a mistake, you've fallen off the trolley. But the trolley's moving, and you have to kind of find out where the trolley is and then jump back on. So if you notice that your child's bow moves off in a different direction, it's okay, because in that moment they're realizing that they're going the wrong way, and they're trying to jump back on the trolley, trying to jump back into what the group is doing. So here is essential elements method. So students, make sure you know, look right now where the retakes are. We're going to do the retakes. Okay. Very nice, students. Okay, so this next piece, we're going to now start introducing different types of articulation. Articulation is not just the length of the note, but like how we play a note. Here, I'll better demonstrate. Okay, so yeah, the two main ones that we're learning in music is détaché. Détaché just means moving our arm back and forth. In French, it's translation detached. So it sounds like this. All right. The other one we've been learning is another one called martelé. So martelé in French means to hit something with a hammer, right? So you gotta imagine it has like a sharp, short sound. Here's martelé. All right. So those are the two different ways. You'll notice the twinkle variations. They were doing both of those. They were doing right. But now they're learning what it's called. It's both détaché and sorry, okay, here's another cool thing. So this is just like I'm really into like the history of these instruments. So in music, we often use Italian words to do things, like violin, violoncello, and bass are all Italian words. And they're actually, the Italian music terms are legato and staccato. So legato is the smooth one, staccato is the short one. But, so our instruments were invented in Italy, so we use Italian words for musical stuff. But this bow, it changed shapes throughout the years, but the most modern one that we use today was invented in France in the 1800s. So détaché and martelé are both French terms. So and only in the string world will we use détaché and martelé. In the music world, so I can tell that play legato, play staccato, they'll know. And we'll go, if a band student will know, and a chorus student will know, but only an orchestra student will know that martelé means to play something like a hammer, because we're the only ones that use this French design of the bow. It's very cool. So the song that can help us demonstrate this is called Allegro by Suzuki. It also has a lot of retakes in it too. So listen for the martelé and the détaché in this. Okay, all right, yes. So, TheChanClanLife, the folk tune, is a pretty cool thing. So first we'll just play it for you so that we know how it is. So students will do it in unison and just once. So yeah, the cool thing about TheChanClanLife is that this is a piece that we can play what is called in canon. So in music, in canon means one group starts and then another group will come in a little bit later. So they're playing the same thing, they're playing it at different times, and it makes it sound really cool. There's actually a really famous canon. A lot of you probably were even married to this canon. Married as in when it was playing when you were getting married. That one. That's a canon. That only has one violin part and one cello part, and then they just play it in canon and it sounds really pretty, and people use it for weddings all the time. But we're going to play TheChanClanLife in canon. So group one will be the cellos, bass, and violas, and group two will be the violins. And so yeah, you can hear it. It helps them get used to the idea of, I got to play my music, but I also have to listen, but also not listen to the parts around me. Very nice, students. Okay, so this is a good practice for them as they, because you notice this concert we're playing all things all in unison where we play at the same time. So TheChanClanLife is good preparing them for next semester. So next semester, like violins will have their own thing, cellos and bass will have their own thing, violas will have their own thing. So that things will get more complicated then. But this semester was building fundamentals. Okay, this next song, Holiday Medley. They didn't really teach any new concepts other than it's just a nice pair of songs to play for a concert that's happening in December. So this holiday medley consists of dreidel and jingle bells. Very nice, students. Okay, so our last song is going to be Ode to Joy. So Ode to Joy is going to be two things. So a really interesting thing, our weakest finger is actually our pinky. And so while cellos and bass had to learn it from the very beginning, violins, violas didn't have to do it until fairly recently because they can just go on to the A string and play. So here, let me just show you. And as they get more advanced, they'll have to use fourth fingers. When you're playing fast, you want to like stay on the same string for a lot of it. And so you'll probably notice some of the violins and violas have already been doing fourth finger, and I told them they can add in extra fourth fingers if they want. But for Ode to Joy specifically, I told them they have to. They have to use fourth finger on this one. So make sure the students are going to make sure they're not going to go on the A string for violins and violas. They will use their fourth finger, which will be good. Another cool thing about this is that we're going to play through once with the melody, like all together, and then we're going to split into harmony. It's a good, like, I guess, teaser for when we will start playing things as an orchestra next semester. So you have a few students in here who've had some past experience, so I gave them a part that's a little bit harder, and it'll have some nice harmony in it. So here's our last song, Ode to Joy.